Okay, continuing on, we were talking about jobs and festivals, and we're going to continue with that. Remember that all of these positions will work very closely with the festival director throughout the whole process, the planning, the execution, and then, of course, the wrap up. So it's going to be important that everybody be a part of this. So, anyway, moving on, we have to have somebody to handle promotions and advertising. That's a whole uh, big process that involves um, not just putting it on Facebook, but a whole targeted concept, depending on who you might be a part of, be performing on the festival. You have to target for a particular audience, and you have to target a lot. You can't just put it in the paper one time or put one TV commercial or put it on Facebook one time and expect it to do any good. You have to have a several week long targeted concept that starts small and gets bigger towards the end, sort of like a presidential election kind of a thing. So that's a very important post, and it takes a lot of time and effort. The next thing that might come along is the production manager. The production manager is the one who will be in contact with the production folks for all of the artists after they're booked. And the production manager is obviously the one that oversees everything that the band needs from on the stage, from its stage point of view, from the time it gets there to the time its trailers or bus or trucks or whatever arrive until the time that they leave. It would also include having to get backline. It includes overseeing all the people, all the stage hands, all the stage managers, all of the people that are involved in the staging of the show. So the production manager has a pretty big job, and he's a very important person. And once again, he will work with the festival director on all of this. The next position, of course, is the head of security. Um, Security can be a lot of different things. Most of the time, I like to use real, sure enough, licensed gun toting police officers of one kind or another. Although sometimes you can't really afford all of that much uniform security, so you may have to have some t shirt security in there. But you got to have somebody to oversee all of that, and that would be somebody that's experienced and can handle a lot of security people and can make sure that number one, nobody gets hurt. Number two, all of those people aren't just going out looking for trouble themselves, because that happens a lot. Frequently, you'll get security people who are just big and mean, and they want to beat somebody up. So, in the name of security, they do it. Um, Having spent a lot of time in that area myself and in doing security myself, I will say that I have never hit one person, nor have I ever been hit. I've always managed to talk it down and work the situation out without getting physical. And it can be done in almost probably 99% of situations if you know how to do it. And if you're good at it, you can do it without violence. So that's an important position. The next position is hospitality. Hospitality is a very important position because artists all need something different. They want different hotel rooms, they want different food, different drink, different M&Ms with no red ones. They want all of that kind of stuff. So the head of hospitality, and hospitality will have a team of people frequently who are volunteers to work with them. And they're the ones that are responsible for making sure that the artist's dressing rooms are in good shape, make sure that the artists have what they need in the dressing rooms, full length mirrors, sofas, food, you name it. As long as it's there, everybody's happy. That's what the hospitality people do at a festival. And speaking of food, here comes the food. There needs to be a director of food and food vendors. And what that person does is he will go out and hire all of the food vendors. And some of them may come in trucks, some of them may not, some of them may need tents. It could be any number of different types of food vendors, and depending on what you want, a food vendor will be careful and try not to get two people that do the same thing. You don't want two people selling tacos. You don't want two people selling chicken on a stick. You would want to be careful that you have a wide variety of things and not just a bunch of people selling hamburgers. So that's part of his job. The food director will also be sure that everybody gets their contract signed, and he's the one who will ultimately settle with them at the end because, of course, you're going to want to make some money off of all of these food vendors. You're going to want a piece of their sales. So that's what the food director will do. He will also make sure that they get their health inspections, that they are licensed, that they do their sales tax, all of that sort of stuff. So the food vendor has a very important job. Also, he will hire the person who does the food festival catering. There is always a caterer for the festival whose job it is to make sure that all the artists, all the tech people, all the production people, all of the heads of all of these departments, that everybody gets fed for the simple reason that you're there for several days, almost 24 hours a day. So there is always a festival catering tent that handles all of those folks. Artists usually, they ask for all of this food in their riders. I usually just strike through it and write festival catering on it because they know what they're going to get. They're going to get decent food. If they have anything specific that they absolutely have to have, like vegan or some sort of special diet, we can always take care of that. Make sure that that's done. So festival catering is an important thing as well. Then you get the beverage director. The beverage director may handle sodas and that sort of thing, or the food people may just sell sodas and all of that stuff. We're particularly interested in alcoholic beverages, which is usually, in most festivals, it's just beer, although there may be a couple of other areas located around the festival grounds, a couple of bars or a couple of things where there might be some more different types of alcohol sold. It falls upon the director of alcoholic beverage sales to make sure that everybody follows the rules, and the rules are: if you're not 21, you don't drink. If you don't have the right wristband, you don't get served. Everybody can only usually buy two beers at a time. That's, of course, is to keep people from buying multiple beers and just giving them to underage people and all of that sort of stuff. So you have to be really careful. He will also work closely with the police officer and the ABC. The state ABC will always come to a festival every day before it starts, and they will go through, check it, make sure everybody knows the rules, and make sure everybody knows what they're doing. So it's important. And there are some services that you can take. One of them is called Learn to Serve that we require, in my world, I require all servers to take that class. It's online. It only takes about an hour, but all servers are required to take that class before they're allowed to work for me serving alcoholic beverages. It's just another way to cover your rear end to make sure that things are okay. And then the last one along these lines is, of course, EMTs, first aid. You gotta have that on site all the time. You can't have a festival without having first aid and without having paramedics. At least one. They usually work in pairs, so you almost always have two who are there and who can call in case of something serious. They can call in ambulances and more people, fire trucks, whatever they need to get something accomplished anytime there is a reason that might happen. In most festivals, I've not really had much incident in festivals like that, but occasionally, somebody's going to have a heart attack or step in a big hole and break a leg, or anything is possible. So you always have to be ready for whatever might come next.